Why are all these light modifiers so huge? Hello everybody, my name is Marco Bagnoli, I'm a cinematographer from Germany, and today we talk about how to light in tight spaces. You probably notice a lot of times when you're working with modifiers, 90 centimeters, 120 centimeters, 150 centimeters, they tend to get really large and big. This is a big problem when you try to film in tight spaces. So after watching this video, you should be able to shoot something like this. So this is the first shot I found in a commercial, and as you can see, we are in this really tight bathroom space, and we talk about how to light a scene like this, because it's not that easy actually to do. This room is probably only as big as we can see. There's probably a bit of space here and a bit of space here. And how much is this? Probably like 50 centimeters. And an aperture light dome 150, which is so the most practical light a lot of people would probably use, this goes probably on size like this. Around 1 meter or more, and that's the reason you could not fit this light in the space when you want a really soft key on the people without using big butterflies or something like this. So how do we make it still look good and soft? So first things first, we talk about the compositing. Shooting in a door frame is always difficult, because when people are standing around here, it's pretty difficult to light just them, not light the wall or the other wall. It tends to look very unnatural. So try to avoid putting people exactly at the door. That's the reason why we're looking now into the scene. As you can see, we have this actually cool tones in the front, giving the girl and the man the key light, and this really warm backlight. So we do a different type of coloration for color contrast. It always helps to balance out the shot, because when you make everything warm, this warm, this warm, this warm, the shot tends to look really washed out, and that's not something we want. We want to create a little bit more dynamic, and we can create dynamic with contrast, with colors and composition. And they did here everything to do that. First, composition. When I put the scene on the third, you can see we have the walls on the left and right side, and the most important part in the center. Overall, a lot of commercials nowadays are very centered framed because of 9:16 production, so you can later just put this onto Instagram, TikTok, and still works as an ad. But when you're creating a scene like this, try to really darken the front. You don't want, always remember, you want to show the most important thing in the image, and this is these people. So we have here this light, and it's practical, and it's textures. So just as we know something is there. Just black would look really bad, but keep the exposure really down. Always try to remember we want to focus on the most important part. This is only for depth. There is no important information or something else, so don't overlight your foreground. Next thing is, you also are not be too afraid when you're at set and think, wow, this looks really bright and this looks really dark, so my light meter's looking really wrong here. But remember, we are in 2025, we have color grading. Really good, so when you notice this is a bit dark, this is a bit bright, or the other way around, you can easily fix this in shot like this. You put on 2 easy power masks on this side, put here power mask, boost that up, put that down, and so you create your depth afterwards. So always have in mind when you're working with a good colorist, you're a good colorist by yourself when you're in the edit. Don't try wasting your time to flag the walls, to get the light levels down. Just do it in post. That doesn't mean you should everything do in post, but always remember, this is a tool you can use, so don't overthink everything on set. The lights that you can use in tight spaces like this are most of the time an Astera tube or an aperture tube, newer tube. There are a lot of different brands. They use this tool. These are RGB fixtures. Then can use every color, have pretty accurate CI, and are also quite powerful when you use it in a dark scenario. So this is something you can put in tight spaces. There are magnets for them. You can put just ropes around them and fix it somewhere. So this is a tool a lot of people use in this kind of scenarios. Or because it's also possible to put, what a lot of people nowadays do, not for this scene, you can put on Astera a balloon light, I would say. just a fixture which gives your Astera a bigger area, which makes it even softer. This is a system where you can just put your Astera in, and with air you blow it up, so you get this big softbox that really actually light. You can travel around, use most often as a fill light when you have a walking shot, that it doesn't look as asteric, I would say, because the look of Astera is very prominent, and just one tube when you blast it in someone's face is pretty obvious most of the time. But with the balloons nowadays you can counter this look a little bit. Other options are something like a Godox 400 or a Godox 600, which are big carpet lights where the electronics are outsourced here, and you just have this big LED panel that has with softbox grids something around this size. And this is something you can put in a lot of spaces. And it's also, the form that you get from is very window light, so it looks very natural on people, on the eyes, on the face. And that's what they probably done here. You can put one carpet light or Astera here. The Godox 400 is more of a longer format, and the 600 is more square format. Put one here or put one here, and just put this on a cooler temperature, this on a warmer temperature. Normally in a scenery like that, I don't know how it looks inside the bathroom, you would also probably light from above, because most of the time this is the most realistic way a light is working in a room like this. But if they had here a mirror with a practical, you always try to support the lights that are already in there. This is also a classic shot that you do a lot, is people's emotion in an indoor location. And these kind of shots you light always the same. Just look, okay, where's the window? The window is probably here on the side. So your key light coming from that window all the time, 99% of the time, because it gives the whole scene this realistic filmic feeling, and this is what we all want. So you do it like this. There are different ways where you can do it when it's where you have really big lights, smaller lights. You tend to have the experience to know how bright the lights you need has to be, and you often see maybe videos or behind the scenes from the interiors where they build a butterfly outside, and there are like 5 lamps blasting into this butterfly. Most of the time you see so much lights because you really underestimate how much power you need. So it's not always that they know, okay, we need 5 lights here, 10 lights there. Sometimes they just use the whole arsenal that they have so they can get a little bit exposure into the room. But sometimes for your production, when you don't have this big group of people, you just can put most of the time something like a new Evoke 2400 with a Fresnel and just a quarter diffusion and blasts into the scenery. It's better to have a little bit texture in the room than no texture at all, and then just easy black out the other side of the room so you get this nice half-lit look. And also, as you can see, they probably, to break a little bit this cool feeling, they have warm top light that gives her a little bit of warm edge around the shoulders and her hair. Here, this is a big family picture, and in a group of these, you really try to put your big butterflies, as huge as they can be, into the room to get a nice roll-off. Because as you can see, he is way brighter than the people here. What I think is interesting, because most of the time when I have people with mixed colored skin, I tend to pick the darker tones closer to the light, because then you get a better roll-off, because then you tend to have a little bit more exposure, so and white people logically a little bit less, so it wouldn't be as extreme fall-off like here. As you can see, these people are really bright, and till the end the exposure gets really dull. So for this shot I would probably change it. The other way you would do it is that you put a cutter in front of the butterfly. These are these disc-like shaped grids. You see a lot of behind the scenes where they're 1 stop, 2 stop. It's just, you can something you put on a C-stand that just cuts light. So when you have, okay, you expose for probably them, and then you cut the light for these people with the cutter, so that every one of them has exactly the same exposure. Here we have a similar scenery like the first shot we looked at, and we have this window frame where the actor is in the center. Now we reversed a little bit the colors. Now everything is more cool. As you can see, the lockers are room, the outfits are blue. And now to counterbalance everything, we put an orange light in the background. As you can see, without the orange light, everything would be very monochromatic. Everything just blue and cold. And this warmer color up here helps our eyes to break the image a little bit, that feels more balanced. And I don't know why, when you have a locker room shot, most of the time it's just something like a 600D with a big light dome, just blasted on it and then put a power mask around her to create a vignette. You can look for it. Every locker shot, there's at least one shot where light's just hitting them. So if you enjoyed this video, I will really appreciate a subscription from you. Here is daily upload. So I see you next time.